At least 12 people are dead, many more injured. President Obama has just released a statement calling that shooting horrific while vowing U.S. support to track down the suspects who at this hour are still on the loose.
The Muslim population of France reached over 6 million people in the calendar year 2013. While they cannot legally collect technical and official stats about the race or religion of its citizens, the estimate would imply that almost 10% of the total population in France is now Muslim. And the people of France are becoming increasingly wary of a faith that has leaders pointing to the possibility of the entire nation becoming a Muslim country in less than one generation. So are we talking about Islamophobia, or reality of a changing world that simply cannot be stopped? Let's welcome back to MidPoint a man who understands the Islamic world better than most, professor of Middle Eastern Studies at Florida Atlantic University in Boca Raton, Florida, and author of Salafism in Lebanon, From Apoliticism to Transnational Jihadism. Dr. Robert Rabil joins us again. Dr. Rabil, always
thank
a pleasure,
you, Ed.
my friend.
Always, it's my pleasure, and thank you for hosting me.
Good to see you. It is always a pleasure.
And I'm sorry to meet under this terrible circumstances.
But we have talked about this in the past, and we have prepared ourselves for this, and we have tried to, I think, bring some sanity to this. But with regard to the fact that this is an office that was the publisher of a Naked Muhammad cartoon back in 2011, we're now talking 3 years, 4 years later, don't we need to get it through our heads eventually? One thing, these people are patient, they will wait, they don't have to come after you right away, they're good at what they do.
You are absolutely right, because we have seen that not only in France, we have seen that in Denmark. Let's not forget 2005, 2006, you have scores of people were killed, you have places that were vandalized. We have seen it in Great Britain too, so it's not only in one place. And you are absolutely right, you have radical Muslims that wait for the opportune moment to go ahead and strike against what they consider, you know, those who blasphemed Islam by projecting the images of Muhammad.
But the blaspheme itself is rampant, because earlier in the show we played a clip of a cleric who was going after people who, for pictures, for internet, for video, for cartoon drawings, whatever it is. We need to understand that it doesn't make a difference. Almost anything you do can be taken as an insult by the radical members of this religion, and they will look to kill you for it.
As a matter of fact, I agree with you, and this is how I will put it in context. I believe that what happened today is a really attack on culture of the West, on the Western culture, on our, you know, what we believe in, mainly freedom of speech. Now, you have certain people that don't like to project those images. You have certain people that have reservation, but overall, this is all fall under freedom of speech and freedom of expression, and they had every right to do that. And those people who went in, they should be pursued, and they should be taken to justice.
When we talk about freedom of speech, isn't it fair to say that that is what the radical Islam faction fears most of all? They fear women speaking out, they fear young people speaking out, but there is that freedom of speech, and if they can shut that down any way possible, that's really the main goal. Not punish for something done religiously, but freedom of speech is the key.
Yes, I go along with you, and also I would add that, you know, you have certain images in Islam, or certain things in Islam they don't like to show, especially the picture of Prophet Muhammad. For them, this is like a high sin, like you have committed the biggest sin. And this is why you have some kind of a clash of culture between us and the culture of radical Muslims. And it's a problem. It's a big problem, Ed. It's a huge problem.
But how can you then get along with freedom of speech against what the radical Muslims want? It seems as if there is no middle ground. There is no compromise.
Okay, this is how I look at it. If you are living in the West, you have to go and abide by the culture of the West. If you don't like it, you know, you have to decide whether you are going to stay there or leave the West. If you are in the West, and I strongly believe that, and this is why I strongly believe now in Europe pursuing a policy that is mainly focused on assimilation of all its citizens, Muslim and non-Muslim, from different ethnic minorities from different parts of the world. If you want to live here, we have our culture. You have to assimilate. And our assimilation means respect to our laws and our culture and our traditions.
All right.
And this is extremely important. And with the radical Muslim, I strongly agree with you. What they have been doing is wrong. They are going to try to change things, not only in certain Muslim society, but also in the West.
All right, now where you're talking about, stand right there, because that's
Yes.
a point I want to hit on when we come back. Break, we return with Dr. Robert Rabil to hone in not just what America, but other countries in the world refuse to do in order to find these killers, and that assimilation is a huge part of it. We're coming back right here on MidPoint.